Two major weather fronts have collided, soaking most of the nation, from the Sunshine State to South Australia, the ACT and the NT, and down into Victoria, even Tasmania on high alert. Around 10 million Australians are currently under a severe weather warning.
This is moving to being not just a coastal event.
Up north, storms are moving inland. Regions across southeast Queensland have been battered by more than 200 millimetres of rain since yesterday, with a further 150 mil forecast.
There he goes.
And despite warnings, people are still ignoring the message not to drive on flooded roads.
It's not just if it's flooded, forget it. If it's not urgent, defer it. And home is the safest place to be today.
But New South Wales is still the epicentre. 18,000 people have already been evacuated from their homes, and a further 15,000 are on standby to leave.
If you have been asked to be on alert for evacuation, please get together your precious belongings, make sure you are safe and make sure you're ready to leave at very short notice.
Around New South Wales and the ACT, bridges have been washed away, parts of the state receiving months of rain in just 24 hours. And while some are rejoicing, many more are devastated.
There's just nothing been left at all at the farm here. We've basically lost all our fences, lost some of our cattle, lost all our machinery. We lost pretty well everything here, and unfortunately the insurance doesn't cover flood, unfortunately.
Tensions running high on the mid-north coast.
You come here for a camera opportunity.
No.
Where's your gloves, mate? Seriously, where's your glove?
The New South Wales Premier warning even though the rains are forecast to clear tomorrow,
It does not mean the danger is past, quite the contrary. Many river systems are still taking major flows and many rivers continue to rise. So there could be flooding in communities we haven't anticipated.
Take forever to clean this place up.
There's nothing that's not damaged. Bushfires came very close to here. There was houses lost in other areas nearby, and now this flood, it sort of tops it off.
After living through drought, the catastrophic bushfires, a year-long pandemic, and now this, Australian communities are being pushed to the brink.
It's pretty heartbreaking.
It's all right, Mum.
Sweetie, former RFS Commissioner who now heads Resilience New South Wales, the disaster management agency, Shane Fitzsimmons, joins us now. Shane, you've seen many a disaster. Just how bad are things around New South Wales at the moment?
Yeah, look, it's an awful period of time for New South Wales, and as your intro just indicated there, this extraordinary weather event, this rainfall event that's resulting in widespread flooding, inundation, isolation, and obviously storm damage as well, comes on the back of a year of COVID. Preceding that were more storms and floods, the extraordinary unprecedented bushfires, and prior to that people were on their knees with drought. Sadly and tragically, so many of the communities affected by those disasters of the last 18 months to 2 years are now being heavily impacted by these storms and floods, and many that were rebuilding after the bushfires with fencing and infrastructure have seen a lot of that taken away again, destroyed again, industries heavily impacted. So the toll is extraordinary on people of New South Wales, and we're already gearing up for relief, for clean-up, for support, and of course what will be an enormous recovery effort following the receding of the waters.
Can you give us a sense of how big that recovery would be?
Waleed, what we're looking at the moment is just in the next 24, 48 hours, as soon as it's safe and practical to do so, we've got 500 to 1,000 firefighters, an equivalent number of Defence Force personnel being lined up, a couple of hundred fire trucks. We're going to be going in with the initial washout and clean-up, getting the mud and silt and all the soiled belongings, the furniture, the flooring, the white goods, the stuff that's been left in freezers and fridges. Really dirty, difficult, emotionally charged times, working shoulder to shoulder with owners and of businesses and homes and properties. We've got a massive clean-up. We've seen all sorts of infrastructure damaged and destroyed. We've got debris, vegetation debris of scale all over the infrastructure, ripping out fences. We've seen livestock and other debris floating through our river systems and out into our estuaries. It's a massive clean-up. Destruction of animals, burying of animals, the waste white goods, building materials, vegetation matter, rotting food. It's going to be a massive clean-up. That's the immediate hit. And then we know the repair, the reconstruction, the rebuilding, but most importantly, the healing on what is already a really challenged set of communities. The 34 areas that have been declared in New South Wales natural disasters, so many of them are the same that have just come out of the bushfires. So the compounding effects are enormous and will be long-term.
Excuse me. Shane Cofters, I just went to say goodbye. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and yeah, all the best with the clean-up. You do an incredible job, and I know there's many people out there relying on you, so thank you so much for your time tonight.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.